And Kurt is playing the blue-white Stoneblade list that has been popular basically since the printing of Batterskull.
Is that a signed Tarmogoyf?
That looks to be like a signed Tarmogoyf on Alex's side. So obviously we're a couple turns into the game. Noble Hierarch and Tarmogoyf on Alex's side.
Natural order.
And a natural order.
Does Kurt have
no
anything?
fear.
Let's
Kurt
see, brainstorm
Spiess.
to look. Let me see if I can find something.
Yeah, Kurt Spiess gonna brainstorm. We might be game 1 may be over in a flash.
I see another brainstorm.
Yeah, that's the best he can
Does
do.
he have?
No way
he's
to
got
shuffle.
I think a spellstutter sprite. So if he can get one card deeper and have it be a Force of Will, I guess that's his only option here, is to hope that that works out. And Alex is like, okay, let's see. He just skips it. What is that? What is that?
Yeah. Oh, but Alex had the force back.
Look at that, a Force back with Fire Ice.
It's happening all so quickly.
Now, I would be able to tell you what that card is, but it's so shiny,
It's a
I can't tell.
Progenitus. It's a foil Progenitus going to game 2.
Progenitus. Wait a second, what
Well-
does this deck do for those people that don't know out there?
That was
Well,
fast.
while we watch them sideboard that
So just-
incredibly quick
I
game.
want to recap that game. At some point, Kurt suspended Ancestral Visions. Alex played a Noble Hierarch and a Tarmogoyf and a Natural Order. Kurt tried to counter it with Force of Will, which Alex was able to counter with his own Force of Will and Scoop. So that was pretty much the game.
Scoop, scoop, scoop. And now they sideboard. So really quickly, we've got 1 year of free premium to give away. So for those of you who are at home who would like to get 1 year of premium, what you need to do is tweet to hashtag SCG Premium, and it's going to have to be the answer to this trivia question.
I haven't
Remember,
heard this question
tweet
either.
it to SCG Premium. In our top 8 today, we had one deck that ran Life from the Loam. What archetype was playing Life from the Loam in our top 8? It's in our coverage. Go check it out in the print side. Glenn Jones works very hard to make sure our print side of the coverage gets a lot of information. What deck in the top 8 had Life from the Loam? And remember, tweet your answer to hashtag SCG Premium. Going to the sideboards for Alex and for Kurt.
I think, so Alex, he's got no rug. I think he's going to bring in Life from the Loam.
Did
I give that away?
but he doesn't have
maybe.
Life from the Loam. Maybe.
I'm bluffing.
Maybe you are bluffing. Red Elemental Blast. We've definitely seen be a part of both of these sideboards.
Yes.
Kurt has a splash of red that he only uses for his sideboard. So you're going to see Red Blast from both of them.
And only really uses for the Red Blast, like Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast. It's nothing else in the sideboard that's red.
Now, we saw last match that Bobby Sullivan tried to fight a Jace war with Kurt. Perhaps Alex will try to do the same thing. Otherwise, there are other options he could try to go towards. Grim Lavamancer looked like it was sideboarded out by Bobby. Maybe Alex thinks it's the right call. I'm not actually sure what the right call is here, but one of those two might well be. If anyone at home has a sense of what the right call is,
Speaking of asking the audience, we did ask about Eternal Witness.
I was about to ask that.
So we got a lot of responses. Mark Sun, who again made top 8 of the Legacy Champs at Gen Con, he said it's on his list of 3 or 4 cards that I couldn't fit in. It would be great in Attrition Wars. But then he says, then again, I like weird card choices to begin with.
Okay.
Counterspell, for example, apparently played in his no-rug list, or at least consideration. Someone says they prefer, this is a Bad Core Hard Ass playing on Twitter, prefers playing Loaming Shaman.
Interesting.
To Eternal Witness.
Loaming Shaman, for those of you who don't know, green and 2 for a 3/2. When it comes into play, you can put any number of cards in a single graveyard back into the library of that player.
Yeah, so kind of a Gaia's Blessing-ish.
Yeah,
kind of
a selective Felden's Cane of power.
Somebody, let's see, this is N-A-H Holmes.
Not Holmes, okay.
Not Holmes is asking, what do you want to witness back? Aside from playing Natural Order, nothing in your main deck is worth paying 4 mana to Green Sun Zenith for a witness.
I wouldn't mind. That's actually a very reasonable point. That 4 mana is a lot of mana to pay to tutor a card back to your hand. That's a good point. Look at that. We've got the trophy. Are there 2 trophies?
There's 2 trophies. Or there's just a camera angle on both of them that shows the same trophy from 2 angles.
Oh, you don't ruin our fun.
There's 2 trophies. It's twin all over again. It's trophy twin. Alright, so, and now we're getting a billion answers to the new premium question. So, can't, oh, here's a couple things. Ex post facto MTG mentions his friend played No Bant and top 32'd with it at Providence, and apparently played Witness. He loved it in the deck and was always relevant, but the meta change since might have changed things.
It's a really good card in Attrition Wars. I mean, I remember having it in my Stompy deck way back in the day with my Dryad Arbors and Stoneforge Mystics before there was a sort of Feast and Famine, and it was a great card in that deck, but I didn't have Green Sun Zenith. That card wasn't around for a while yet. Turn 2 we're on right now. Island and Flooded Strand facing down a Taiga.
And the Sylvan Library, if I could speak, from Alex Bertoncini meets a Spell Pierce from Curdy. Second Flooded Strand from Kurt. Cracks them both. Tundra Volcanic Island, yes, much better choice.
Now remember, the
Alex draws his card, and Kurt plays Vendilion Click, which is met with a Red Elemental Blast from Alex, and then a second Sylvan Library from Alex. He has both Sylvan Libraries available, cast them in consecutive turns, and now Kurt is faced with potential Sylvan Library on the board, which appears to have resolved. It does. Kurt untaps.
Sylvan, so powerful. Now Alex, winning this gives him 20 points. And I'm not sure if he picked up any points yesterday in the Standard, but just the 20 would give him 211 points. Edgar Flores only picked up 2 points this weekend, which puts him at 216. So
very
Alex
close.
is at the very furthest 5 points off of Edgar, and might even be closer than that.
So Jace the Mind Sculptor comes down from Kurt off of Riptide Lab, freshly played this turn. Brainstorms for Kurt. And now Alex draws his card for the turn, and after resolving the Sylvan Library situation, I don't know how many cards he happened to draw. He may have just put some back. There's a Green Sun Zenith.
That's for 2.
For 2, yeah. And we're going to see, well, let's see, he says I'm playing a Dryad Arbor also, so they're playing super quick. Tarmogoyf comes down for Alex.
Look at that. Red Elemental Blast, Jace, Riptide Lab, bunch of cool cards.
Very interesting setup here where Jace bounces Tarmogoyf and Dryad Arbor can either attack Jace to 1 counter, or Alex can play something like Noble Hierarch and kill Jace, and then play the Tarmogoyf. So Alex set up very nicely against Jace right now if bouncing is the choice that Kurt would want to make, although I think it's more about the Brainstorm right now, and I believe that's exactly what Kurt's doing.
You know, seeing that Sylvan Library in play makes me feel like I really wish that... I mean, I'm really excited about the possibility of playing a deck like No Rug. I know that occasionally Zoo decks have played Sylvan Library in the past, but you don't really see that much anymore. Not as much, anyway.
So actually, Kurt actually played a Brainstorm. That's where I saw him brainstorming. It was actually the actual card Brainstorm, and he did bounce the Tarmogoyf.
There we go.
So again, Alex plays. If Alex plays a Noble Hierarch here, he can attack with the Dryad Arbor.
Only 1 card from the Sylvan for Alex.
Okay, good call that you noticed that. There's a Wooded Foothills. There's a Natural Order. And sacrificing the Dryad Arbor. Do you have an answer? Kurt thinking.
All the sacrifices, all going on. What's the word, Kurt? Bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
And he says, okay. Now remember, from the sideboard, Kurt has the possibility of casting Wrath of God.
Although, again, here's a situation where he doesn't have a second white source. We saw that in an earlier match in the Swiss, where the player had Wrath of God in hand and did not have the white source, the second white source to play.
And Vendilion Click, who's he targeting if it resolves? Is he Insurance targeting Alex, or is he trying to dig by targeting himself? It's Force of Will, so he doesn't get the option. And that's fine. Kurt untaps, draws, activates, I'm guessing, a Brainstorm effect from the... Yep, there it is. Oh, there's the Wrath of God. Does he have a white source to finish it off? Puts the 2 cards back. it's not bad.
He does have
There's
a
a
white source.
Tundra.
So we're going to see, very likely, a Tundra into a Wrath of God. Which is just enough to be... Notice also that he had to cast a Brainstorm to find that white source. There it is. And can Kurt resolve... Huh, interesting. He instead decides to suspend Ancestral Vision. Not exactly sure why you wouldn't Wrath there.
Maybe trying to draw out a way to protect the Wrath of God, rather than just pushing it into a potential Force of Will.
That's a possibility. Progenitus in for 10. Drops Kurt to 8. Untaps, ticks down the Ancestral Vision.
Brainstorm.
There's a Brainstorm from Jace. Figures out what he wants to put back.
Land.
And
Wrath
there's
of
a
God.
Wrath of God.
Force of Will.
Force of Will
Hardcast.
Hardcast from Alex, yeah.
Pyroblast. And it works. Progenitus shuffles back into the library.
That's one of the other more kind of ridiculous abilities of Progenitus, is that even though you deal with it, another natural order can pull it right back out of the deck. It makes it very, very resilient. Playing around days, says Mark's son. As far as why he didn't play the Wrath of God at that point. Tarmogoyf from Alex. And Green Sun Zenith for 2? Yes. Getting another Tarmogoyf. And Kurt plays Yawgmoth's Will and casts the Wrath of God again. Wait, that's not happening. So, looks like Jace bounces one of the Tarmogoyfs.
Tick, 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 down goes the Visions this. It's like, here comes the Goyf about to come.
Mutavault activated. Returned to his hand after chump blocking with the Riptide Lab. Although I'm getting I just got a bit of information from another friend of mine and a friend of Kurt's, Dave Heilker, who notes he wasn't playing around days. He wanted to play with Red Elemental Blast backup, which actually makes a lot of sense since he did actually have that in his hand.
Right. Which is
he was doing
what we
both.
commented
He
earlier.
was technically doing both, although primary reason may
as we
have been
said
the Red
when,
Elemental Blast.
just as we said when that happened, right? Like, what might be happening? Well, wanting to hold it back for the defense because he has that red blast in hand. All of these cards that he gets to see.
There's another Wrath. So
That's
Kurt
both of them.
clears the board, yeah, but I mean that was a very timely Wrath. Very
Alex.
cool interaction between Riptide Laboratory and Mutavault that we saw a couple turns ago, where he can activate the Mutavault, chump block, block, and then use the Riptide Lab to return the Mutavault so that he doesn't actually lose the land. Another kind
Draw,
of cool interaction.
Sylvan.
Alex having access to Sylvan Library is just,
He is almost out of life, though.
yeah.
Down to a mere 6 life, says Go. Sylvan, basically the original Sensei's Divining Top.
Right. So it looks like Vision's resolves, or Ancestral Vision, that is resolved.
One, two, three. That's the Brainstorm time, though, from the Jace.
Yep.
Puts 2 back. He's got a Flooded Strand in play. There's the 2 cards.
Mutavault comes back down.
2 mana for a Stoneforge Mystic. Good, look at all that card in hand. That's pretty crazy.
Still had all these Stoneforge Mystics. Still had all
Sword of Feast and Famine is retrieved. It almost looked like the pile he was putting that on was a deck, but no, it was his hand. There's the sword being cast. Alex leans forward, cracks the misty rainforest. Puts forth the deck, draw, activate Sylvan. Sylvan Library, a card whose text has changed so many times, it's actually hard to remember what the current text is.
Well, it looks like they're going to a game 3 here.
Mm-hmm.
Making
Kurt
it exciting.
hiding behind the trophy there.
Yeah.
He's got a trophy beard.
He does, trophy beard. Another point from Twitter, and this is what I was thinking at the time, was that since Progenitus wasn't lethal that turn, he wanted to get the Visions online early, just to be able to draw the cards 1 turn earlier, which could have made all the difference, and in this case probably did. He was able to go to 8 life and stick there, knowing it wasn't lethal.
Both going back to their sideboards. Now Alex is going to have the benefits of being on the play. We saw how quickly the game 1 ended. Alex, turn 1, I can't remember if it was a Noble Hierarch or a Bird of Paradise. Turn 2, Tarmogoyf. Turn 3, I believe laid a Dryad Arbor, but didn't go for it right away. I think it was turn 4 that he went for the natural order.
Sounds about right.
And Nicholas right behind him, one of Star City Games' judges, taking away our other judge. A little swap in, I think. Nope, just a quick discussion. Alex shuffling. Kurt Spiess eyeing up the trophy. Now remember, Alex is going to come within a few points of Edgar Flores after this match.
Trophy.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Joey Pasco. It has been a long 2 days of awesome Magic playing. Now, one of the things that's really great about Star City Games Live, you get a better seat in the house to watch the match than basically anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I am at these events live. Sometimes I'll walk over to a table, and generally speaking, the view from the camera is better than the view around the table, because you can't get right next to the table. But we have that overhead camera that lets you see right up close what's happening.
Yeah, I'm not very tall, and so as soon as any table has a little bit of a crowd around it, I gotta try to peek through and stand on my tiptoes and see what's going on, and it's kind of like, I can't see. Forget it. I'll go watch one of the non-feature matches.
Right.
And that's if I want to watch it live and not from a camera view. But yeah,
right.
It's just like, it's exactly how I feel about football. You know, as cool as it is to be a game, it's an entirely different experience than watching it at home. But I kind of prefer watching it at home because I actually can see more and understand more of what's going on watching it on television than
I I definitely feel the same way about professional sports. I've never understood the real thrill of the live watching. You just can't see as much, if you ask me. Actually, there's one thing I really like about live events, is that oftentimes there's really fun food.
Yeah.
Hot dogs generally is what I go for.
I mean, there's like an electricity kind of thing in the atmosphere being at the event live. That's what's always what's cool. But as far as actually getting, as far as seeing as much as possible of the actual game, you're better off watching it.
I always get so excited about the action. You know what I mean? Like
another thing is I'd like one of the things my dad would always say to me, and I grew up and agree with this, is that if you're going to go to a game, bring a radio and you listen to the game on the radio, because you can hear sometimes you're sitting there watching a game and something happens, you're like, I don't really know what happened. But so I did that actually. I was at a Ravens Steelers game last season, and that was great because I just brought a little radio and listened, and people were going, what's going on? What's going on? And okay, so this is what happened. I'm telling the people around me what was happening because the radio was telling me what was happening.
Alex looks pretty plucky here. Big smile on his face.
Yeah, one thing people are noting also on Twitter, and it's definitely apparent, and this might have to do with the fact that I think these guys did some sort of prize split thing, and I think there's a lot less on the line here, and they're playing kind of fast and loose and having a good time. But Alex plays very, very quickly with his natural orders. Not quickly, but aggressively, kind of without a lot of fear.
Yeah, you got it? Okay, let's see.
Obviously, in game one, Kurt did not find an answer. He brainstormed into a brainstorm and found a single force of will, which was just force of willed by Alex. There's a Stoneforge Mystic. A brainstorm from Alex met with mental misstep. Stoneforge Mystic finds Sword of Feast and Famine. Alex has 2 volcanic islands on board. To Kurt's 1 island and 1 tundra. Alex has no play. Kurt now able to potentially capitalize on this little stumble on mana from Alex. Kurt plays a Wasteland, actually maybe making it even more relevant. So yeah, he's hold up. I think I want to Wasteland your volcanic island. Yeah, Wasteland an island, volcanic island, and now violin a Sword of Feast and Famine.
So far ahead right now.
Brainstorm
on
Kurt.
the main phase. Finds a Arid Mesa, or not, a Scalding Tarn, I should say.
Yep. Probably just gonna play a land, equip the sword, swing in.
Now the definite word here, Glenn Jones lets me know that this is indeed a split-based fight. We don't know what split they're fighting for, but officially the win has been given to Alex, and so they're playing for pride and a little bit of prizes.
Whoa. Arachnus spinner. Sorry, there's just a giant spider.
Yeah,
I don't mean
giant
I don't
spider
mean of
just
the
dropped
2/4
from
variety.
the ceiling right down in front of us.
It wasn't of the 2/4 variety.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
Back
so back to the
maybe
match
quite-
at play.
quite a lot
The
bigger.
Sword of Feast and Famine doing some real work here. I'm not sure. Alex is like, well, what you got?
So does that
That
did
was,
Kurt just take that game in
yeah.
the match? Very cool.
So officially, Alex is the champ here, but Kurt takes the prize split pride match. And Alex, I think, is confirming that the official results include him.